Cérémonie protocolaire.
Afin de débuter cette course de Nissan Sentra, j'ai le bonheur d'avoir à mes côtés le vice-président Amérique du Nord chez Nissan, M. Steve Millette.
Mesdames, messieurs, démarrez vos moteurs. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
And the call to fire them up here for the Nissan Sentra Cup. Again, I'm Dave Bradley. Todd Lewis will be joining us momentarily here for the start of a 40-minute timed race for the Nissan Sentra Cup. And it will be their first opportunity to go fast this weekend here at the 2024 edition of the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. Again, they did have a qualifying session yesterday, but the conditions were vastly different. It was a very wet day here in Trois-Rivières. As I've joked a couple of times, it turned Trois-Rivières into about 12 rivers, not 3 rivers, because of the remnants of Hurricane Debbie passed through the area and just left us with a deluge of water. And as a matter of fact, there was so much standing water on the track that the events from last night had to be pushed to this morning. And that includes the Formula 1600s and the FEL Sports Car Championship Canada, which just took to the track. And instead of having a qualifying session, they used yesterday's qualifying to run an event today. So it was supposed to be a dusk event, but realistically with the cloud cover, dusk came very, very early and the track was very dark. So that's why we are where we are with the adjustments in the schedule. So the Nissan Sentra Cup did qualify yesterday in the rain, and it was Alexandra Forte ahead of Valerie Limoges, Frédéric Chaput, Mathieu Miron, Eric Chaput, and Nicolas Barrette, Sylvain Ouellet, Nicolas Levesque, Daniel Forte, and Nicolas Miron. That's your top 10 starters for the Nissan Sentra Cup. And we'll take you through the point standings as they sit in their 10th season. Valerie Limoges out in front of the points race in the Nissan Sentra Cup, the driver of the 777. She has 2 wins so far, both coming at Circuit iCar. She's ahead of Nicolas Barrette, but not by much, by 3 points. As a matter of fact, Nicolas Barrette and Alexandra Forte are tied for second spot, both 3 points back of Valerie Limoges. Mathieu Miron just picking up a couple of wins at the series' last stop. And interesting, it was the first time this series crossed the border and went to Lime Rock, Connecticut. So it's becoming an international series, the Nissan Sentra Cup, and Mathieu Miron picked up both wins at Lime Rock at the last stop of the series. So that sort of pushes him back up into the point standings. He sits in 5th behind the 91 of Simon Vincent, a former rally champion who has been running the Nissan Sentra Cup for a couple of seasons. But what's interesting about these cars is that they are spec Nissan Sentras. They do get a few performance upgrades, but they're a 4-cylinder, 16-valve, 149 horsepower, 146 foot-pounds of torque. Same thing you get off the showroom floor, but they have a 6-speed manual, coilover shocks, upgraded brakes, which is important, and a cold air intake, but they also have all the safety that they need. So a 6-point roll cage, a harness, both FIA spec, a racing seat, window net, and a fire suppression system. But because of the low horsepower, just 149 horsepower, and the spec series, everybody's on a level playing field. It does get very close. So you'll see these drivers in a single file running nose to tail, just waiting for the driver in front to make a mistake. But it's always makes for an exciting event here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. You can see Forte will be on the inside for turn number 1, as he is your pole sitter. So it looks like he's on the outside coming off the final corner. That's going to be the inside lane for turn number 1. It's Valerie Limoges, your points leader, in that white car. Alexandra Forte in the red top car as they almost get together, coming to the line, and we are underway. A 40-minute time race for the Nissan Sentra Cup here at the 2024 edition of the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. Forte pulls in front, single file now as Valerie Limoges drops in behind. Nose to tail for turn number 3. This is where you have to be polite. Everybody needs to be on their best behavior. It is so tight through the Duplessis gates. And now you make way down onto the back straightaway, which is not really a full straight. As a matter of fact, turns 4, 4A, 5, all included in this back straightaway. Down Boulevard du Carmel into turn number 6 in this heavy braking zone. And the General Tire corner is a good opportunity to pass, or a good opportunity for these drivers to make mistakes. And I believe one driver has already knocked the side mirror off. Yeah, it's the number 50 of Nicolas Levesque, who has caught that concrete on the exit of turn number 6. So the right side mirror already dangling on that Nissan Sentra. Take that part number out of the parts book at the local Sentra dealership to get that one fixed for the next race. But out in front is Alexandra Forte, trying to be the first back-to-back series champion after taking top spot in the points last year. But Valerie Limoges, who has a championship to her credit already, a nice move to the inside of turn 1, but there's contact as they head to turn number 2. They sorted out, but barely, before the drivers got to that left-hander in turn number 2, and then back through another left-hander in turn 3. So it's Limoges, Forte, or excuse me, it's Limoges, Forte, and then Mathieu Miron. As I took a look at the timing and scoring, that goes back to the last official completed lap, and that still has Forte out in front, but it is definitely Valerie Limoges in the 777 out in front of the 1 of Alexandra Forte, the 191 of Mathieu Miron, and Frédéric Chaput ahead of Eric Chaput, the 63 and 116. Rounds out the top 5 as they sit right now, but look at the heat being turned up from the driver, the 1. Alexandra Forte, he does not like sitting looking at the back bumper of the 777 of Valerie Limoges. Limoges, no stranger to victory lane here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières, picking up a couple victories in years past. As a matter of fact, when she won her championship, she became the first female champion of a regional road race series, period. And she's no stranger to turning left and right, a veteran of the Porsche GT3 Cup when it was in Canada. She ran that series before, and she's graduated up through the ranks, and she's been a stalwart here in the Nissan Sentra Cup for several years now. As you can see, in the middle of that pack, the 427 and Nicolas Barrette, there it goes bouncing through that turn. But it's unique because it has the red headlights. You can tell what that one looks like. The 191 of Mathieu Miron goes fastest overall, a 122.73. That's a little bit quicker than the 122.7 of your race leader, Valerie Limoges, but that one has yellow headlights, so you can distinguish it when these cars are coming straight on. A lot of black and white cars, not a lot of colorful liveries in the Nissan Sentra Cup. But the drivers just trying to keep costs in line, as are the organizers of the Sentra Cup, and that's why essentially they're basic Nissan Sentras that you get off the showroom floor. Again, a few performance, a few safety upgrades, and then they go racing. But if you look inside these cars, the dashes will look exactly like what you would see when you go test drive a Nissan Sentra at your local Nissan dealership. Now it looks like Forte coming under heat for Mathieu Miron. Again, Miron coming off 2 back-to-back wins at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut, the first ever trip south of the border for the Nissan Sentra Cup. The driver, the 191, has some confidence on his side And now he's pressuring last year's champion in the one, Alexandra Forte. And really, last year here at this event, the GP3R really allowed the driver of the one. He had a great weekend, picking up a couple of wins. And that really solidified his place in the championship standings. And he eventually did go on to win. And there you can see some damage into the tire wall for one of the drivers, and that's the 46 of Christian Thibault. The red paint is the telltale sign of a run-in with the tire wall. And so it looks like he will choose to retire that car, and that could be where it happened, on the outside of turn number 1. It doesn't look like these cars want to get turned too easily through turn number 1. It's everybody sliding very much outside, trying to keep that momentum up, trying to maintain their speed level. As Miron tries aggressively to get around the one car of Alexandra Forte, but he's soon to look in his rearview mirror, because the number 63 of Frédéric Chaput is coming and closing that gap on the 191. Looking for a podium position is the 63 of Frédéric Chaput. Still out in front is the 777 of Valerie Limoges, though. So it's Limoges, Forte, Mathieu Miron, Frédéric Chaput, and Eric Chaput. And there you can see it is starting to get a little bit spread out. The best battle is the battle for second, with Miron again trying a few different lines to close the gap on Alexandra Forte, but there is still a lot of time left in this one. If you go too hard too quickly, you risk running out those tires, warming them up too much, and losing traction. But you can see it is turning into a packed house. We're expecting a great crowd here today to watch not just the Nissan Sentra Cup, but all the events on the schedule here today. The NASCAR Canada Series will head out for their practice session directly after this one. And then the Formula 1600s will take to the track for their race just after the lunch break at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We'll see the vintage cars by invitation this weekend. They'll make a start this afternoon. The Super Production Challenge, which did race in the rain, as we've got a localized caution, and it is the one of Alexandra Forte who went off in turn number 6. Remember, he was under pressure from the 191 of Mathieu Miron, and he folded under that pressure. The defending series champion falls from second, and he will be well down the running order as he had to make a trip into that runoff area in turn number 6. But now Miron has his mirrors filled with the number 63 of Frédéric Chaput. As he went on offense so much, he forgot that the 63 was there. Jean O'Day in the 13 with problems on that car, as the longtime veteran of several different series here in Canada will pull to a runoff area and to safety, so avoid a full course caution. But we can tell you that one little misstep from Alexandra Forte dropped him from 2nd to 10th place. So it was a 10-second penalty, essentially, if you look at the last lap time compared to everybody else. 11 seconds, actually, compared to the lap times that he was turning previous. So one trip to the runoff, and now actually Alexandra Forte got things righted fairly quickly. But the Omnifab number 63 of Eric Chaput is really starting to move forward now. But can he close on Mathieu Miron right now? Valerie Limoges, the class of the field, continues to click off very steady, fast laps. She's just right in the low 122 range, and she's now almost 3 seconds ahead of the 191 of Mathieu Miron. So Miron hoping for a full course caution at some point. Give him a little help to close this gap with half an hour left in this 40-minute timed race. Race leader, the Bet GRW 777 of Valerie Limoges in through turn 3. You can see a lot of bumps. Again, this is a track that is built out of normal streets. It is a typical street circuit, so you get all the humps and bumps that you would in daily traffic here in Trois-Rivières, Quebec. And for about a week a year, it turns into a very racy track. But that one in turn number 6 is a big one. And you can see the cars hopping over it as they snake their way down through there. This is another, listed as another corner. So the track itself is just over 1.5 miles in length, 11 turns, 3 right-handers. So predominantly a left-hand street circuit, left-hand corner street circuit. But it does produce some very exciting racing, and we've got a great battle here for second spot. But again, Valerie Limoges just continues to be so consistent out in front and consistently opening up a gap on the rest of the field. And now it's 2.9 seconds, so adding another 0.3 of a second to her lead at the front. See a car getting into the wall, and yeah, that's a pretty significant hit from, I believe that was Raphael St. Pierre in the 419. You saw Daniel Forte, and yeah, the 419 starts to fall back through the field, so likely caught that right front corner as Todd Lewis joins us now in the booth. But Todd, we've been seeing the 777 start to open up a gap, and that's not unfamiliar territory for Valerie Limoges.
Championship caliber driver, scoring the Nissan Sentra Cup Championship a couple of seasons ago. She continues to display that form out front of this field with Mathieu Miron and Frédéric Chaput who are running in the top 3, and that's where the battles are. The better fights seem to be a little further back in the field. That's Nicolas Levesque and Nicolas Miron who are battling it out now for 6th and 7th, or 7th and 8th.
Yeah, and Alexandre Forte is slowly creeping back up into things. So he overcooked it a few laps ago into turn number 6 and had to take the runoff area. That cost him from 2nd spot all the way down to 10th. That's where he sits right now, just ahead of Jean-Francois Couture. But the number 91 of Simon Vincent is right there too. So it's a 3-car battle. So you have Nicolas Levesque, who actually moved up from the Micra Cup. So he had been running Micra Cup and usually at the front of the field in the Micras. Purchased one of the Sentras this year and has been doing very well. So he sits 7th right now. He's the leader of that 3-car train, though. And
that's the plan, is with elevating to the Sentra Cup, is that all the drivers would eventually migrate through to be Sentra Cup participants. So nice to see that continuing for this series as well. And as we've seen, some great battles and some great fights for position. Back up out front with the 777 of Valerie Limoges.
Yeah, it's a gap that is 2.3 seconds now. So something happened to Limoges. She might have just been easing off a little bit at 23.2. 123.2 was her last lap time compared to a 122.7. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if it was just an easing off or maybe problems developing for your race leader. But look at this battle deeper in the field. The 427 of Nicolas Barrette is working over the back bumper of Eric Chaput in the 116. And again, you have to be right up in there because the track flips back and forth. So you think you have a pass made, and then all of a sudden you're on the outside for the next turn. So you have to think ahead of where you're going to take your opportunities to make a pass.
And then you get that big long run into corner number 1, the sweeping right-hander. And then again, it's a combination where you have to flip back to get set for corner number 2 as Eric Chaput continues to hold on to that 4th position. And a good battle for 4th and 5th.
You hear these tires just screaming for traction all the way around this facility, but corner number 1 is generally a good passing opportunity for different series. Not so for the Nissan Sentra Cup, because you're trying to maintain that momentum. The drivers just drive it right in there and take all of the real estate, as now Barrette goes to the outside in turn 6. Can he cross back over and get a run down low? And that's exactly what he's going to try and do. No, he'll fall back in line.
got to be the perfect run heading towards that left-hander at corner number 6. So Nicolas Barrette will line up once again and circulate around, trying to stay as close as he can to that 116 car of Eric Chaput ahead of him, and just put a little bit of the pressure on. Move from side to side there on the inside mirror as they're going through corner number 9, just letting him know that he's there, and if he makes a mistake, there will be an opportunity to pounce.
Well, that's the thing, and you mentioned it. Fill those mirrors. Get in the head of the driver in front of him. You want that driver looking at his mirrors and not looking at his marks and where he needs to brake, where he needs to start turning in. Get him off his game, let him make a mistake, and then it's an easy pass for Nicolas Barrette. But right now, it's just the setup. Now he's working to try and fill those mirrors. He saw dust as the 427 nearly caught the wall between 1 and 2.
Looking back towards the arch now and hoping to see them come through. And there they are, still line astern. The 427 now looking up the inside as they head down that long back straightaway towards corner number 6. He's up the inside. Now, is he going to be able to get the car slowed down and complete the pass? Nice drift to the right-hand side to help him give a little extra room. Holds on, but this 116 of Eric Chaput now looking to try to do the crossover.
Ooh, look at some of the damage there. That's likely right side mirrors that have fallen off these cars. Chaput has a great run, and he's on the outside of turn 7. He'll be to the inside of turn number 8. Can Barrette keep that momentum? He'll go way out into that painted area, and it looks like Chaput's going to hang on to it. So great defense from the 116. Yes, he did give up that position in turn number 6. In the end, it didn't matter.
What a great fight between the 116 of Eric Chaput and the 427 of Nicolas Barrette, hammering each other for 4th position. The 116 gave it up briefly on that lap, but as they cross the start-finish line again, he is ahead of Nicolas Barrette, and they'll go at it one more time. Still 23 minutes left to go in this race.
And remember, we wondered if Valerie Limoges was having some issues. She is not. She's opened up that gap at the front. 3.1 seconds once again. Your leader is the 777 Valerie Limoges, and Nicolas Barrette hard on the brakes in turn number 3. And that's going to affect his drive down this straightaway, but he'll catch a toe in the draft. Right behind the 116 of Eric Chaput. What a dice for 4th spot.
This is a great battle between these two, and this time it's the outside for the 427. Will he be able to sneak up the inside? Just a little touch as they're going through the left-hander.
Yeah, if he touched any more, that 116 would be into that concrete wall in the exit of turn number 6, but Barrette tried, and you can see the rear bumper cover now flapping in the wind of the 116 of Eric Chaput. Will that affect him down the straightaway as it acts as a bit of a parachute, and the number 69 slow just ahead of this group? That's Luc Baudouin, who is a lap down to your race leader, so he'll pull off the racing line. Yeah, he does, and he lets everybody go through. You saw the waving blue flag in that corner indicating the faster cars are coming. Please give them space.
Terrific battle once again. They remain in the same position. The 116 of Eric Chaput is running 4th. The 427 of Nicolas Barrette is running in 5th position, nose to tail, and the 427 drifts wide through corner number 2. And this is the position starts again as they head towards corner number 3 in the left-hander, trying to push that 116 a little further and tuck right up and get as good a draft as you can going down the long straightaway.
Yeah, but while these two battle, and that's largely known amongst race car drivers, if you start dicing, you get off your optimum line, your lap times are going to start to suffer, and they have. And look who's coming. The number 99 of Sylvain Houlette in the white Nissan Sentra is right there. And now the Omnifab car is going to join this battle as well.
Fine, good with a 3-way battle. Let's see let's see how that works out. It's been terrific with Chaput and Barrette, who have gone back and forth for the last couple of laps, nose to tail. It's just been tremendous racing here at GP3R.
And we can tell you there's still lots of racing left to go. 20 minutes left in this 40-minute timed race, so they'll see the halfway flags this time by as, boy, the 427 is nearly tearing off the back bumper of the 116 in front, and there is cross flags indicating the halfway mark here for the Nissan Sentra Cup at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières.
Can we officially call this a three-car battle now with the 99 of Sylvain Ouellet, who has joined that? A little bit of a gap between himself and the 5th place car, the 427 of Nicolas Barrette, but he is a part of this fight now.
Oh, very much so. So yeah, Sylvain Ouellet will be happily engaged in this battle, but what he now has is the element of surprise on the 427. Nicolas Barrette has been so focused on attacking the 116. The number 99 can just see a gap and take it, and Barrette may not even realize that the 99 has made his way up and is that close.
And is there to capitalize if there's difficulty between one or both of those cars? Nice move up the inside with the 427, taking over that spot again, and looks like he's going to be able to clear the 116 of Eric Chaput this time.
Yeah,
but for how long?
Yeah, truth. But yeah, look at the rest of the field coming up too. Nicolas Miro, Simon Vincent, they're not too far behind, but this time Chaput didn't get the run to the inside off of turn number 6 as he did the last time. So Nicolas Barrette, for all of that work, finally pays off. And this is for 4th position, by the way. This is not for the race lead, but every position counts at the end of the day.
Lap after lap, just working him over before Nicolas Barrette manages to take over that spot, and as they cross the start-finish line, will be credited with 4th position. And wonder if that body work that's flapping just a little bit is affecting the 116 of Eric Chaput ever so slightly down that long straightaway. You mentioned it, that acts as a bit of a parachute. You can see it flapping to the driver's left side of the car, and now the 99 is looking for an opportunity.
Yeah, not to mention these drivers involved in this battle have just beat on their tires, on their brakes. They have sort of taken everything from these cars. Well, somebody like Valerie Limoges is nearly on cruise control, 3.5 seconds out in front of Mathieu Miron in the 191. There is the 2nd place driver, and 3rd place driver is Frédéric Chaput. And then you have the gap back to Nicolas Barrette. So realistically, the top 3 not in jeopardy of changing positions at any point unless the driver makes a mistake.
And everybody in those top 3 positions right now, as you mentioned, seems to be just kind of cruising around, make consistent laps, manage the gap between yourself and the competitor behind you. Nobody's facing any serious challenge at the moment. So if you don't make a mistake, you don't put yourself in jeopardy.
Coming through to complete yet another lap, Valerie Limoges tucks it close to that inside wall in turn number 1. There you can see from our drone shot just how much room there is to play with in turn number 1. And that's why you see these drivers able to drive it way out to that tire wall to maintain their speed and then cut back across this racetrack, almost catch that concrete wall, and then set up for turn number 2. Again, trying to maintain that momentum that is so key here in the Nissan Sentra Cup.
That's the fight for 5th position now with the 116 of Eric Chaput and Sylvain Ouellet, who has closed up onto the back of that battle as well.
Yeah, and the 192 of Nicolas Miron, where did he come from as he's now involved in this one as well? And there, as we talked about it earlier, the element of surprise as Nicolas Miron gets in and hard on the brakes and will pick up that spot. So he just clicked off a couple quick laps in a row, inserted himself into that battle, and then took a spot right away.
That's a nice clean pass coming up the inside of corner number 6 to get the car slowed down, turned, and then pull away as you exit corner number 6.
And you can see the bump in the middle of turn number 6 and how it would affect some of these drivers. We'll see it the next time by, as it looks like Miron is going to start pressuring the number 116 of Eric Chaput. And again, a battle for 5th spot. Eric Chaput has it. Nicolas Miron wants it, as Sylvain Ouellet has dropped back in that white-nosed Nissan Sentra, and it looks like he might have some issues, as Simon Vincent in the number 91 goes around on the outside in turn number 1. Uncharacteristic place for a pass on the outside of turn number 1.
That was definitely a car that had slowed down a little bit at the end of that straightaway heading towards corner number 1. We'll see what happens as we make our way around. Jumping back up front now, the 777 of Valerie Limoges is still unchallenged, 3.9 second lead ahead of second place Mathieu Marron in the 191, Frederic Chaput in the 63, running third. And there you see your top three runners once again.
Yeah, and she's still about 0.3 of a second a lap quicker than the 191 of Mathieu Marron, and both have clean air in front of them, although the leader is coming into some lap traffic here very shortly. So something to keep an eye on. But if you're sort of comparing apples to apples, at this time, Valerie Limoges has a basket that's a little bit more plentiful than the 191 of Mathieu Marron.
It's a bountiful harvest, yes, as Valerie Limoges is out front. But again, having that gap of nearly 4 seconds for Valerie Limoges allows her the opportunity to be a little extra cautious as she starts to navigate the lap traffic that you just saw up ahead of her. She doesn't have to be too aggressive in terms of making a pass to make her way through some of those slower lap cars. She can wait an extra corner or two. She has enough of a gap that she can play with and be comfortable with, having now a 4 second gap ahead of Mathieu Marron.
And you can't even see second place there. You just see the quick flash of headlights from second place Mathieu Marron as we stay on your leader, the 777 of Valerie Limoges. And now, once again, Chaput with a 192 of Mathieu Marron right behind. Chaput is going to play a little defense going into turn number 6. This is where the 192 caught the 99. And now he goes to the outside. So will he try the crossover in turn number 6? Not that time. Not quite close enough.
Definitely a defensive line from Eric Chaput in that 116, driving right down the middle of the road to not give him the opportunity. However, it seems like he's going to take it as they head towards corner number 8 and 9.
Yeah, turn number 6 was a big setup for turn number 8 as he took the inside lane a little bit on the outside of that kink that is turn number 7. And look at Chaput, he's just tired of cars going by him. So a little bump back on the 192. And just to let him know that he's still there and he's still fighting, but he's not going to let the 192 get away too quickly. But that was a great setup coming out of turn number 6. It looks like he was just sort of learning and waiting to see what he could do in future laps. And no, he was just making that move, thinking of turn number 8 in 2 corners time.
To your point that you made earlier of momentum, as the 116 now of Eric Chaput takes advantage of it, trying to ride that momentum through and retakes the spot. This is a nice dice here back for 5th, 6th, and 7th position.
Eric Chaput finally saying, come on, guys, I want my spots back. So he went and took it in turn number 2. Saint-Vincent just in behind. There is your race leader going 3 wide off of turn number 6, headed for turn number 7. As Valerie Limoges works her way through lap traffic. Uncontested, though, towards turn number 8. But look who is right there and closed the gap is Mathieu Marron. So we have a race at the front of the field all of a sudden.
That's what the lap traffic will do. As we mentioned, Valerie Limoges had built that gap and allowed herself the opportunity to be a little extra careful, but it took her a significant amount of time to make her way through those couple of lap cars. And now Mathieu Marron has taken advantage and really closed that gap up. 1.3 seconds now, down from 4 seconds.
That's Steve Poulin and Stéphane Pouliot. Poulin in the yellow car, Pouliot in the green and black Nissan Sentra that were racing side by side in front of your race leader. Essentially, Valerie Limoges had no place to go until the track widened up enough to let her go by. And this continues to be that great battle for 5th spot as Nicolas Miron has managed to get back around the 116 of Eric Chaput, but for how much longer?
Those two have swapped the lead back a couple of times over the last couple of laps, and looks like Simon Vincent and Sylvain Ouellette are also having a pretty good battle of their own right behind them.
So Mathieu Marron at the front is still 1.1 seconds back of your race leader Valerie Limoges, but turning quicker lap time. So that's important to keep in mind as we keep our eye on this battle for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So 4 cars all on the same lap and all battling for position from the 192 of Nicolas Miron, Eric Chaput, Simon Vincent, and Sylvain Ouellette. That's your 4 battles, or 4 cars involved in this battle, and what a good one it is. Marie-Soleil Labelle off the track and out of harm's way, but This car has been stopped there for several laps. She's 4 laps down now, so it looks like problems under the hood because it doesn't appear as though there's any damage.
I was talking to her dad Max a little bit earlier and said that they were having some issues yesterday that they were trying to navigate and resolve, and only got about 7 laps in yesterday during their session. So clearly the problems have not gone away for Sunny Labelle in that 27 car.
And also that session was done in the rain too, so you know, it's hard to diagnose an issue when you're just trying to keep control of the race car during a very wet practice session. But there's the gap, first to second. The white 777 of Valerie Limoges, currently your race leader. The black and white 191 of Mathieu Miron in second position. And here's the underlying story here, that Limoges has 2 wins, both coming at Circuit Icar. Mathieu Miron with 2 wins, both coming at Lime Rock Park. That's the last 4 events that the Nissan Sentra Cup have competed in. So both of these drivers have dominated on the respective tracks that they've raced on.
And both would very much like to add to that win total here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. You mentioned that Valerie Limoges is a former series champion. She scored that championship without scoring a victory during the entire season. So how good would it be to score some wins, especially having one here at GP3R, and perhaps secure another championship a little bit later on in the season? That gap at 1.6 seconds now between Valerie Limoges and the 191 of Mathieu Miron.
Yeah, she's just a little bit quicker in clean air than the 191 of Mathieu Miron, so the 777 is working just a little bit better. You see Jean Audet in the red hood car. There it is, the McDonald's sponsored car. So he is a lap down to the race leader, and he is well aware of it because he is pasting that car to the inside wall trying to get out of the way.
Actually had his hand out the window waving the other cars by. Just, I understand you're in a fight. I'm not going to get in the way. You continue with the battle.
There's the 192 of Nicolas Miron. So he's been able to gap now the 116 of Eric Chaput, but Chaput feeling the pressure of the 91 and the 99 as they come through lap traffic. So again, it's that Steve Poulain, Stéphane Pouliot, the yellow 37 of Steve Poulain, the 210 is the green and black car of Stéphane Pouliot. So they are a lap down, but they're racing their own race. Oh, and we got problems. The 50 of Nicolas Levesque is in the retaining wall, and you can see the front tires very crooked. So he's caught the wall or has broken something on the 50 car, and he is stopped. And yeah, the front wheel is bouncing back and forth, so it's done.
You can see the tire marks leading to where that car is stopped to driver's left, and not very considerate to put the hazard lights on so that everyone sees that he is stopped. But I suspect that is going to bring about a full course caution to clear that car. We're just under 8 minutes remaining in this Nissan Sentra Cup race, first of 2 here at GP3R, so we could have us a dash to the finish.
All depending on where he is on the track and where he is stopped. You can see a local now, it is a full course caution as the yellow flags come out around this 11-turn circuit, and this is the caution that Valerie Limoges did not want to see. She had a lead of 1.8 seconds built up, and that evaporates here. So how quickly can the cleanup crew get that car off the track, and will we go back racing? That's the big question right now.
10 minutes ago, Valerie Limoges was basically driving with one hand on the wheel and the other out the window, just with her arm on the window to relax. But now it's gather it all back up, refocus, and hopefully if they clear that car away, it's going to be focus on a dash of a couple of laps to the finish of this Sentra Cup race here at GP3R. And Valerie Limoges will have her mirrors filled by Mathieu Miron, and Frédéric Chaput in that 63 car also will be in close proximity.
Yeah, that's another driver we hadn't really talked about too much, but Frédéric Chaput has been consistently running inside the top 5. This will also give another opportunity for the number 1 of Alexandre Forte to make a move, potentially to improve his position. He was sitting in second, took the runoff in turn number 6, and dropped all the way down to 10th position. He's now sitting in 9th, so another driver to potentially keep an eye on. And what's going to happen really now with Nicolas Miron, Nicolas Barrette? Remember, they had that battle with Eric Chaput for so long. They'll now be in this lead grouping as well. We know how fast those cars have been, so lots of questions yet to be answered here in the final 6 minutes of this Nissan Sentra Cup race.
Field being gathered up by the safety car, and will continue to circulate around until we can remove that 50 vehicle of Nicolas Levesque. and remove him from the course, not going anywhere because, as you saw, the right front tire was definitely not pointed in the right direction. But hoping for a few minutes of green flag running towards the end of this one, shootout to see who can capture the win here in the streets of Trois-Rivières.
If not, it's just off at turn number 3, so it is too dangerous to leave that car. But now that the field is set back where they should be running in a single file, get the cleanup crew and they can come out of turn 3. So it's not a far run. Pull that car back into that turn 3 area or load it up onto a flatbed, and it doesn't have to go too far. So theoretically, we can get a cleanup done fairly quickly.
That is our hope, to see that happen as the Sentra Cup safety vehicle continues to circulate around with Valerie Limoges out in front, who now has time to think, which is sometimes not the best thing for race car drivers.
That's true.
It's like, okay, so how am I going to focus on this restart? When am I going to jump? Am I going to try to go early? Am I going to try and back the field up and give everyone, keep everyone close and then gun it at the last minute? So these are all the things that will be going through her mind as we get ready to hopefully get back to some green flag racing with 4:40 left in this time session.
You see some of the drivers too with their hand out the window, so they don't run a driver's side window. It's just a window net. But they have the opportunity to get some cold air in there, and they're trying to direct that cold air in by using their hands. Something like you would do on the highway, for example. You know, you put your hand out to try and just direct some air in if your air conditioning is broken or you don't have it. But that's exactly what the drivers are doing. It's not a tremendously hot day here today, but the sun is out. It does get warm, especially when you're focused for so long. 35 minutes these cars have already been on track. The temperature inside the cockpit does pick up, so driver fatigue could also play a role in the late stages of this race.
And you're wearing a Nomex fireproof suit and gloves and a helmet and balaclava, so that all contributes to the internal temperature rising of the driver. So any opportunity to get a little bit of cooler air inside that cockpit is most welcome as we circulate under full course caution. You did see that the flatbed is already there and working to hook that vehicle up to get it removed. So hopefully it's a quick cleanup and we get a couple of minutes and a couple of laps of racing to round out this event.
And it's already up there. So yeah, but the yellow laps, so the caution laps for these cars take about 2.5 minutes. It's going to be tight. We might have one lap, a green, white, checkered. So green and white wave together and then come to the checkered. A last lap dash would be an exciting finish here for the Nissan Sentra Cup. We're still waiting to see if we can get that here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. But what a race it's been for that driver, the 777 Valerie Limoges. She has done everything she has needed to do here today to keep that car out in front of the rest of the field. Took the lead early on and never looked back over the one of Alexandra Forte, who tried to maintain the pressure on the 777, and unfortunately a misstep in turn number 6 cost him to run off. And Valerie Limoges, again, consistent laps, quickly out in front. Allowed her to build up a gap of over 3 seconds at one point, and then lap traffic sort of shortened that gap a little bit at one point.
See the flatbed and safety vehicles making their way off the track as the field streams by. They'll be able to tuck themselves in. Still waiting, still have the lights on the safety car as the drivers weave back and forth just a little bit, trying to maintain some sort of temperature into those tires and prepare for a return to green flag racing, as we've got just a couple of minutes left remaining in this session. Beautiful day here Saturday at GP3R, and fans continuing to pour into the grounds for a full afternoon and then one more day tomorrow of great racing action.
Yeah, I think people are a little apprehensive after yesterday's weather, not sure of what today's weather would bring, and Mother Nature smiling on the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivières here today and bringing us beautiful sunshine and barely, well, a few clouds. So it cools us off a little bit with a few clouds, but so far no wet weather, and we'll touch wood to that because we had enough wet weather yesterday to fill a month worth of rain here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. It was just a significant rainstorm that passed through and filled the streets with water in a lot of cases, but again, water's gone. We're back racing today.
that pace car did not pull off on the last lap by, and we are getting the last lap board at the start-finish line, so it looks like we will unfortunately not be able to get back to green flag racing. That's disappointing for us that we're hoping for a dash to the finish.
Exactly, because it would have been an exciting finish for sure. But when I saw they were taking the 50 of Nicolas Levesque down the back straightaway and headed back towards the paddock area, it sort of had written that check for the rest of the field. You sort of know that they're not going to get there in time and allow this field to go back to green. But it just sets us up for another great race that will come tomorrow here in the Nissan Sentra Cup. They'll race just before the lunch break at 11:15, and it definitely, if you're a fan of this series or if you're just watching it for the first time, it is one to watch. And it gets very exciting because there's a lot of comers and goers. It's drivers that jump out like jackrabbits and then get swallowed up, or vice versa. Slow and steady wins the race. Today it was all Valerie Limoges, though, with a 777. So she's won twice here on the streets of Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières, and she will pick up her third win and her third win of the season in 2024. She'll extend her points lead at the head of the field here in the Nissan Sentra Cup.
Just what you want to do when it's a multi-race weekend, as it is for the Nissan Sentra Cup, is you start off with race one, maximize the points, extend your championship lead just a little bit. That's exactly the way you go into the weekend and hope for the kind of results. So it'll be a successful start for Valerie Limoges. And now it's all about looking for more points. Drivers are so greedy that way that once I got one win, I only want more. So as they make their way through the final couple of corners behind the Sentra pace car, it'll be the checkered flag displayed for Valerie Limoges.
Yeah, for the 191 of Mathieu Miron, he came into this one 5th in points, but on the strength of 2 wins at Lime Rock in Connecticut. But this second place will help him in the point standings. He wasn't too far behind the number 91 of Simon Vincent, who finishes in 7th position. So look for those points positions to trade places as we come through, and we will see the checkered flag and make it official. The 777 of Valerie Limoges will take the win, followed by the 191 of Mathieu Miron. And Frédéric Chaput in the number 63 will come home in 3rd here in the Nissan Sentra Cup in their first race of the weekend here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. Thanks very much for joining us. I'm Dave Bradley. I was joined by Todd Lewis, and we'll be back with the practice session for the NASCAR Canada Series, and they'll hit the track just before our lunch break in short order. So the next action on track will be noontime here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières.